Jai Shri Krishna, everyone. Jai Shri Krishna. Welcome to the complimentary class today. We're going to do the introduction, basics to the Sodash Granth today. So it's just introduction. So we'll go through each Granth and just make a basic introduction as to which Vaishnava it related to and all that. So, see how we go. So shall we do the Mangalacharan first in English? I bow repeatedly to my Guru, Sri Vallabhacharya. The particles of his lotus feet destroy all the worries of his followers. I always bow to the lotus feet of Sri Vallabhacharya's son, Sri Vittalnathji, by whose grace all living beings are relieved of all kinds of miseries. I bow down to my Gurudev, who has brightened my eyes, blinded by the darkness of ignorance by applying the corellium of knowledge. I bow to Sri Krishna, who is resting on the Seshnag and who is the heart of Sri Vallabhacharya. The Lila is in the form of an ocean on which my heart, Sri Vallabhacharya, is adored by thousands of Lakshmiji devotees, all involved in his Lila. I bow down to the 5 parts of Srimad Bhagavatam's 10th canto. The 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam describes the divine Leelas of Shri Krishna. It is divided into 5 parts, 4 parts of Shri Krishna's birth, 7 parts of his Tamas Leela, which is further subdivided into 4 divisions, 7 chapters of his Tamas Leela, sorry if I called it, which is again, as I said, divided into 4 subdivisions, 7 chapters of Rajas Leela, which is divided into 4 subdivisions as well, 7 chapters of Sattvic Leela, which is further divided into 3 subdivisions, and 6 chapters of his divine virtues. These 5 chapters of Shri Krishna reside within my heart. Worship Shri Govardhan Nathji's lotus feet, young Navnit Priyaji, who loves fresh butter. Worship eternal Srimati Radhishji, giver of pleasure, and the ever-pleased Sri Vittalnathji, or Vitleshji. Adore Sri Dwarkadishji, Sri Gokulnathji, the Lord of Gokul, and Sri Gokul Chandramaji, the moon of Gokul. Worship Madan Mohanji, the enchanter of even Cupid. Worship Sri Natwar Prabhu, dancing child Krishna, the supreme actor and lover, and the divine infant, Sri Balkrishnaji. Remember Sri Vallabhacharya, his son, Sri Vittalnathji, as well as Sri Vittalnathji's 7 sons, Sri Girdarji, Sri Govindji, Sri Balkrishna Lalji, Sri Gokulnathji, Sri Raghunathji, Sri Yadunathji, and Sri Ghanshyamji. Remember their lineage. Remember Sri Yamnaji, your own Guru, the blessed mountain Giraji, as well as Sri Krishna, your own Guru worships. Remember your own Thakorji, the one you serve. Let's now do the dhyans of Sri Mahaprabhuji first. Sri Krishna manifested from his own heart an exceedingly lovely form of Sri Swaminiji's secret and loving feminine mood. Then Sri Swamiji manifested the all-attractive male form of Sri Krishna from her heart. These 2 forms then entered their beloved Vallabhacharya and made him not only a nectar-filled combination of both divine forms, but their witness as well. Always contemplate this magnificent 3-fold form of beloved Sri Vallabhacharya. Sri Gopinathji's form, the representative of Sri Vallabh, the storehouse of effulgence, the ocean of compassion who is beyond worldly attributes, the treasure of transcendental attributes. I take refuge in Sri Gopinathji. Sri Krishna's Dhyan. Sri Krishna is adored with a peacock feather and his ears are graced with flowers. His shawl is the color of brilliant gold. He wears a garland made of forest flowers and appears as the actor husband. He is the Swamiji's choice, their lord and husband. He fills the holes of his flute with the nectar from his lips. His praises are sung as he enters Vrindavan, surrounded by his cowled friends. His lotus feet appear splendid and create balance wherever they touch the earth. Okay, so before we start, we pay homage to Sri Vallabhacharya, who is Sarottam, the best. So this is not the Sarottam part, but it's actually praising Sri Vallabhacharya. As we know, it was his birthday last week, and we all celebrated with grand fanfare here at the Haveli. I arrived late, so I missed half of it, but it was great fun. Okay, Shivalbacharya. No comparison in this world of Sri Vallabh. No one better exists, existed, or will exist. Only Sri Vallabh graces and teaches us the knowledge of Pushti Purushottam, the grace-filled Supreme Being, Shri Krishna. The Sodash Granth are important collection of writings of Sri Vallabhacharya. Shri Vallabh is extremely grace-filled, generous, and grants the impossible. Shri Vallabhacharya manifested the Sodash Granth, which is the 16 works, to grace the divine souls of Kali Yuga, to enable them, or us, to perform Shri Krishna's seva, to empower them and us with knowledge of Shri Krishna's divinity and greatness, to experience the anand, the bliss that arises from the knowledge and seva of Shri Krishna, to perfect his bhaktas' devotion and great knowledge of his philosophy. As there are 16 Vedic rites, sanskars, the Sodash Granths are 16 Pushtimarg sanskars. These are the 16 types of shringars in the Indian tradition. Shri Vallabh's instructions in the Sodash Granth are the 16 divine ornaments that adorn the hearts of Vaishnavas. The moon has 16 colors, which shines and removes darkness. The Sodash Granth is the moon that shines light, that removes the darkness of Kali Yuga for the Vaishnavas. Shri Krishna manifested the Srimad Bhagavatam to remove Arjun's delusions. And Bhagavad Gita. Thank you. Somebody's awake. I won't, sorry about that. Shri Vallabh manifested the Shri Vallabh manifested the, it should say, Srimad Vallabhacharya manifested the Srimad Vallabh Gita, which is equivalent to the Srimad Bhagavad Gita. The Sodash Granth to remove Pushtimarg Vaishnav's ignorance. All Pushtimarg Vaishnav's home must have a Sodash Granth. The Sodash Granths are the Namak Swarup of Sri Vallabh, as Shri Krishna's Namak form is the Gita Ji. Wherever the Sodash Granths are present, Shri Vallabh resides there in physical form. Shri Mahaprabhuji composed the Sodash Granth at various times for various disciples. Shri Mahaprabhuji says, having understood the sacred scriptures, one should serve Shri Krishna with mind, man, vachan, speech, and body. The Sodash Granth is one such sacred script that must be known, read, and understood before doing seva. Seva is the essence of the Sodash Granth. They establish the teachings relevant to serving Shri Krishna, your Thakurji, performing seva. The Sodash Granths nurture bhav, devotional mood for the seva of Shri Krishna. Okay, am I going too fast? Are we all okay? Thanks. Okay, so our references for this discourse and many others in the Sodash Granth are Sri Gosai Ji, Shri Harai Ji, Shri Dwarkesh Ji, and Shri Purushottam Ji. These acharyas have done tikas with commentaries on the Sodash Granths. So have some Vallabhkur, the Vraj Bhaktas have, as well as all the Vaishnavas. So the first Granth is the Yamnastakam. Gokul on Shravan Sukla Trij in Vikram Samvat 1549. Shri Mahaprabhuji, the founder of Pushtimarg, is contemplating how to reunite the souls to Shri Krishna. At sunset, this is the feeling you have in Gokul when you are there at sunset. The environment is cooling as a fresh, fragrant breeze of Chandan, sandalwood forest, combined with the waves of Sri Yamnaji River, the sounds of chirping birds and the forest trees, leaves creates a feeling of happiness. Walking along the way past a choker tree, that choker tree is still there in Gokul, actually. You can have darshans of that choker tree. It is now sort of trying to be preserved, but it's there definitely behind Shri Mahaprabhuji's Batak. Shri Mahaprabhuji and Damlaji arrive at the banks of Shri Yamnaji River, whose pure Shyam water symbolizes Shri Yamnaji's grace. Damlaji observes Mahaprabhuji in deep thought of the beloved, as Gokul is the beloved's home. Shri Mahaprabhuji, knowing Damla's heart, says, Damla, these ghats are enchanting and special. As one cannot differentiate between Shri Krishna and Shri Swamniji, how can we recognize which of these ghats, joining ghats, is Govind Ghat and Takrani Ghat? Suddenly, Shri Mahaprabhuji hears anklets ring and sweet divine musical sound. And the voice asks Shri Mahaprabhuji, Vallabh, what are you thinking? Shri Mahaprabhuji sees the divine river is fully adorned with beautiful shringars, kamal, lotus in hand, of dark hue, color like a rain-filled cloud. Shri Mahaprabhuji's eyes are filled with tears of joy and love. With both hands joined together, sings from the heart, Namami Yamunamaham Sakala Siddhi Hetu Muda. Okay, so Yamunastak was composed in Gokul on Shravan Shukla Trich. It's the auspicious beginning. It's the Mangalacharan of the Sodash Granth. So it is in the devotional mood of service in Dasya Bhav. And as the inner current flows in the holy Gangaji, similarly, grace-filled devotion flows within Sri Yamnaji. Shri Vallabh sings the praises of Sri Yamnaji in Adi Bhautik, the physical, the flowing river form. Adhyatmik, which is the spiritual, the holy places, the tirats like Gokul, Mathura, and Vandravan. Adi Devik form, the most beloved of Shri Krishna, the divine Sri Yamnaji. Shri Vallabh sings praises of Sri Yamnaji's extraordinary qualities in each of the 8 verses and her 8 forms of magnificence, her Ashwarya. All other granths are all instructions, are all siddhants. Yamnastakam is the stuti. It's praising Sri Yamnaji. That's why it's the Mangalacharan. So Sri Yamnastakam recited graces the Pushti Jeeves with 8 divine qualities. Let's look at each of those qualities. Divine body for Shree Thakorji's seva. So we need grace to have a body that will serve Shree Thakorji. It can only be done by grace of Sri Yamnaji. Increases love for Shree Thakorji. So the more Yamnastaks we do, the more love we have for Shree Thakorji. She graces you and she whispers in Shree Thakorji's ears about your praising of him, and she helps you to get closer to Shree Thakorji. She removes all our bhakti hindrances. So anything that is coming on our way to do seva and get close to Shree Thakorji, like bodily, any physical elements or anything like that, she helps to remove them. Again, the key is you need to do Yamnastak. Builds a relationship with Thakorji. She helps you to get closer to Thakorji, develop your bhav, develop a feeling of whatever bhav in which you are doing your seva. Removes all Kali Yuga hindrances, the 4 or 5 hindrances you have in Kali Yuga, those are all removed as well. Capability to sustain Sri Thakorji's love. So it's not like temporary, it is sustained. It needs to be sustained, and she helps you provided you're doing Yamnastak. So it's not like one-off, you had a good feeling today and tomorrow you forget, and you do have those mood swings, but if you do Yamnastak, you maintain that. Realization of your divine form, your Sakhi form. My God, that's miles away. So, we need blessing of Sri Yamnaji to get that, but you never know. Carry on doing the Yamnastaks. Attainment of Maharas, divine bliss, and Anand. So these are the 8. But the key is we need to do Yamnastak. 1 a day, 11 a day, 100 a day, 108 a day. 108 takes 2 hours, I think. Depends on your speed. Yeah, but I think you should. And I think it helps you with all this and helps you to get closer to Shree Thakorji. Okay, so even if you can't recite them, sorry, I'm hearing my echo. Can you?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you. Sri Kishori Bai is a good example in the Dosoban Vaishnav story where she only recited a few verses of Sri Yamnastak, but she did it with bow and was showered with blessings of Sri Yamnaji and grace of darshan. So I think just to quickly recite a story, she went through some difficulties and Yamnaji came in a form to come and help her. She helped her with everything and she blessed her, and she also blessed her to recover and get closer to Shree Thakorji. So I think we were discussing before the lesson as to the accuracy of doing things and all that. I'm of the opinion that you got to go on the journey, you got to start. Even if you make mistakes, please don't give up. Just carry on. Your mistakes will get better as you go along and you'll perfect it. If you try for perfection, you're never going to get there. So you get to start somewhere. We all learn by our mistakes. Hopefully you will find a Vaishnava who's going to teach you and say to you, hey, hang on a moment, you're pronouncing this wrong. Can you do it this way? Or you can always listen to the recitation of Yamnastak. There's loads on YouTube, and recite it with other Vaishnavas. Come and recite it at the Haveli here. Bhavna Ben does a brilliant Yamnastak satsang every Friday evening, and it's excellent. She really goes through quite a lot of detail and all that, and she also has the perfection of doing the Yamnastak in the way it's supposed to be done. So I highly recommend, if you got time, to come on a Friday. I think she does it at about 8:30. But check the Patrikas. Okay, moving on. The second Granth is the Balbod. So this was done by Mahaprabhuji for the younger people who came into Pushtimarg. So when I say younger people, that doesn't mean the younger by age, but the people who are just entering Pushtimarg at any stage. So the Granth is a simple explanation by Sri Vallabh of all the theories and not his own theory. So he's explaining all the other Granths. I think we had a question this morning from Sunita Ben, where saying, how do you link the various, how it all started, how, Vishnu, Mahesh, and Brahmaji, and how Shri Krishna came, and all that. So this is where, in this Granth, Mahaprabhuji tries to explain how it all joins together. So it was composed for Narayan Das, Sri Vallabh's disciple, Varta number 57 of the Chorasi Vaishnavani Varta Prasangs. So obviously, I'm not going to go through the stories here, but the idea is we're going to do a module on the Sodash Granth, and I highly recommend you all join that. So that's probably going to be a module in the near future. Sri Vallabh explains in simple terms the four activities of human life in terms of Maryada Marg and in Pushtimarg. So in Maryada Marg, dharma, divine law. In Pushtimarg, it's tap, longing and missing. Earth, which is wealth. In Pushtimarg, we regard that as Gungan. That is our wealth in Pushtimarg. Desire, calm. In Pushtimarg, we say Dinta, humility. Moksha, which is liberation. We don't try for moksha, we try for vairagya, detachment. Detachment from sansar and attachment to Shree Thakorji. Being in Viprayog, thinking about Shree Thakorji when he's not with you, when you're away from him. Sri Vallabh focuses on the ways to achieve moksha. In divine terms, as explained in the Vedas. In worldly terms, as explained by the sages, which is of two types. Sankhya, which is yoga, and second one is grace, depending on Sri Vishnu's or Sri Shivaji's grace. So again, we need to deep dive on this. This is just basically a summary of what that Granth contains. So when you do a deeper dive into it, it'll explain to you each and every stage in great detail, and you'll get a real insight into how everything joins and how Sivji is for moksha, and he likes all the other bits related to moksha, whereas Shri Krishna is a bhakti He likes bhakti and all that. So that's where he graces you and you get more bhakti. Okay, Sri Vallabhacharya also briefly explains seva. Seva is in every granth. So Mahaprabhuji relates everything to seva. The third granth is Siddhant Muktavali. So Siddhant is instructions, guidance, and Muktavali is pearls, so pearl necklace. Composed in Jatipura for Achyutas, Sri Vallabh's disciple, Varta number 54 of the Chorasi Vaishnava Varta. Achyutas was an amazing person. He had the blessing of Sri Vallabh. Sri Vallabh offered him to perform seva of Srinathji when Srinathji came in Jatipura. And he said, no, seva is not for me. I can't do seva. He was wandering around Jatipura. He came from Mathura, he came to Jatipura, he stayed there, he loved Jatipura, he loved Giraji, and he stayed there. So I wish I could do that. I love Jatipura, but I can't stay there. I need the blessing. So he stayed there, and Mahaprabhuji met him. Mahaprabhuji saw him as a divine soul, took him as his disciple, stayed there. Mahaprabhuji offers him to do the seva. He refuses, says, not for me. I'm not going to be able to do this. So Mahaprabhuji blessed him with Mansi Seva, and he Siddhmat. And his blessing was when Mahaprabhuji went, Sri Gosainji used to go there every day to Govind Kund. And on the pretense of doing Sandhya, Gosainji was going there to see Achyutas, because in Achyutas's eyes, he had darshans of Sri Mahaprabhuji. So Mahaprabhuji resides in all his Chorasi Vaishnavas. So this is the story of Achyutas. So he was really, so Mahaprabhuji composed the Siddhant Muktavali for him so he could do the Mansi Seva. So he received the best reward of continual awareness of Sri Krishna's Mansi Seva. Sri Mahaprabhuji explains the nature of Sri Krishna's Seva, equips and enables us as regards to the nature of the world and to fully understand and delicate relationship between manifest divinity, unmanifest Brahman, and the world. So in this Granth is explaining the differences between everything, how you should avoid getting attached in sansar and all that, and then also tries and make you understand your relationship with your Thakorji Sri Krishna, how to develop it, what his swarup is, how you should do his seva and all that, and what bhav you should have. We've touched on this again in the modules where you don't think of him as God, you think of him as your family member. He is part and parcel of your family. So if you're doing his seva as a child, in the child form, you treat him like a child in your family. If you doing seva as a sakha, then you treat him as a friend. As a king, if you think he's a king, then worship him accordingly. So all this is explained in Siddhant Muktavali. So Sri Mahaprabhuji says, always perform Shri Krishna's seva in whichever bhav you're doing it. The best form of seva is when one's heart and mind are filled by one's own free will. To achieve this position, one uses one's body and wealth in Shri Krishna's seva. This leads to removal of attachment to sansar, pain, and awareness of Brahman emerges. Shri Krishna is omnipresent and the supreme Brahman. Shri Krishna is Sat, Chit, and Anand. Shri Krishna is everything in the world and different from everything in the world, is imperishable and formless. Shri Krishna's worship of sansar worldly purposes will encounter difficulties. So if you are doing your seva for gaining anything worldly, then you're going to have more difficulties than you think. He's not going to find a solution for you, because his worship is not to remove your worldly bits, but to love him, care for him. And he probably has a better plan to give you more than what you're asking for. So the idea is we shouldn't be asking really, because if he asks and he gives you what you ask, then he's got away with not giving you the higher reward, which he's planned to give you. So Bhakti Marg and Gnan Marg both attain the supreme reward. Bhakti is the best, right? So by knowledge, you can attain Prabhu, but by Bhakti, you attain love and Prabhu's love. Sri Mahaprabhuji has revealed in the Siddhant Muktavali, the secret doctrine, that for ever perform Shri Krishna's seva in the prescribed manner. So this is quite key. Don't go with the flow. Try and follow the pranalika, which is written everywhere. Please try and follow the tradition, the way you are directed and guided to do it. Again, there is literature, and we can all read it and follow it to perform Shri Krishna's seva at home. Perform Shri Krishna's seva with Tan, which is body, Dhan, which is wealth, and you will be graced with Mansi. So Mansi Seva is the best and happens spontaneously. And my favorite story. Sorry, somebody's got unmuted. Is there a question you want to ask? Stuti? Okay, thank you. Puralmal Satri's Varta, where Puralmal ji had a dream. Srinathji appeared in his dream and asked him to build a temple for him. And Puralmal ji said, he wasn't a Vaishnava or anything. He just had, he must be a divine Jeev to be able to have Srinathji in his dream. So he immediately went to Jatipura to build the temple. There he met Sri Mahaprabhuji. Mahaprabhuji made him his disciple. The same night he started digging, and he dug the whole foundation of the temple overnight. He was that strong and he was that keen. And obviously he was blessed by Sri Mahaprabhuji and Srinathji. So he used his body and he continued building. While he was doing that, he was using his father's funds to do it. It wasn't his own money. So obviously Srinathji had a better plan for him. So he said, okay, you run out of money now, you've got to stop. So he went out. He was trained as a jeweler when he was younger. So he went and did some work for a few years, gathered enough money, came back and started the building project again. So he used his body and his wealth to build the temple. The temple was built. They had the Pat Utsav of Srinathji and everything was there. And Mahaprabhuji read Puralmalji's mind and said, okay, you want to do Chandan Seva of Srinathji. You want to rub Chandan on Srinathji on a hot summer's day. So yeah, here's your chance. Since you've done so much Seva, do that. So he offered him to do the Chandan Seva. The moment Puralmal Satri started, obviously he did Charspas first, and then he started doing the Srinathji's Chandan Seva. He started rubbing Srinathji's body with the Chandan. And he was blessed with Mansi Seva. He didn't need to do anything after that. He was constantly in his Mansi Seva. So that's the ultimate reward. Okay, so the next one is Pushti Prava Maryada, Granth number 4. Shri Vallabh explains the different natures of the souls. Everything is Brahman, but souls have different natures. So Prabhu is in all of us. As we explained earlier, like a log of fire, Prabhu is log of fire and we are all the sparks. Like the ocean, we are all droplets. So similarly, but all the droplets have different nature. All the sparks have different amount of fire in them. So that's what Mahaprabhuji explains in this Granth. Souls have unique paths and rewards. So we all have our own path and we all have our fall accordingly. By acknowledging the variety of souls, their origins and activities, we can understand and grow our own devotion. So we need to understand that everybody's own journey, everybody's got their own, ways of doing things and manner of doing things. So we need to understand so that we can develop our own devotion rather than get stray. Again, in the Granth, it's in much more detail. Sri Vallabhacharya enlightens us with differences and subdivisions of the soul of the souls on the path of Pushtimarg, which can be pure or mixed. Pravai are the ones which are in the worldly flow. So Pushti Jeevs are grace-filled, which have a pure mind and mixed. Pravai are people in the worldly flow, which can be pure or mixed. And then we got Maryada, which is lawful limitation, which can be two distinct types. The wanderers, Karsanic, ignorant, Anjan, and Durjan, the wicked. So there are 3 types in the Maryada. Shri Krishna advises Arjun in the Bhagavad Gita that there are 2 types of souls, godly and ungodly. From this, we assert that ungodly souls exist and that those who follow the path of Pravahai, their worldly flow. So there are people who are ungodly. And we have got to accept that as a fact. Srimad Bhagavatam confirms that with the Lord's grace, an individual abandons the ways of the world and Vedas, becomes worldly flow person, and also abandons the Maryada. The Lord created the path of worldly flow from his mind. Desires that person desires gains and worldly rewards. The Maryada path was created from his speech and desires and gains rewards as per the Vedas. So, the rewards for doing certain rituals will be attained by them. The path of grace, Pushti, from his Kaya, which is his bliss, which is his Anand form. And the Pushti Jeeves desire and gain fruits from the Lord's own bliss, it should say, not one bliss. Okay, so the next Granth, am I going too fast? Are we all okay? Any questions, anybody? Are we all okay? I'm sure Raju's got lots, but let Raju, please, Raju, we'll talk about it at the end. Number 5 is Siddharth Muktavali. Sorry, Siddharth Rahasya. Alka is fully awake.
Yes. She's got right to tell you, we don't.
You all have right to tell me.
Just joking.
You have to all correct my mistakes. I'm sometimes making deliberate mistakes to see if you're all with me.
Okay.
So far, Alka is the only one who's proved she's awake. The rest are all asleep. So please wake up, all of you. And that's my excuse to say that I'm making mistakes. Yeah. Siddhant Rahasya was composed in 1492 on the 11th lunar day during Shravan in Gokul near the banks of Sri Yamuna. So a similar setting to when we recited the Yamnastakam. Shri Mahaprabhuji stood there contemplating the Shri Krishna's chins. He's saying, Shri Krishna in the Dwapar Yuga was here, but I can't see any signs. I can't see any signs of that here. So I wonder what's going to happen. And this is in the Svetvara time. Mahaprabhuji's won't currently we're in the Svetvara. So it's like thousands of years before. So he's just wondering what's going on and where all the signs are of Shri Krishna being there. So he's in a dilemma also, how the divine souls of this Kali Yuga age, who are full of impurities, will be accepted for Shri Krishna and Shri Krishna's seva. As we know, only the best is acceptable to Shri Krishna. And Mahaprabhuji is standing there wondering, saying, oh my God, all these Jeeves have come into this world in Kali Yuga. They're all full of Kali Yuga dos. How are we going to take them to Shri Krishna, who we can only take the best to? Then Shri Krishna appeared to him, to Vallabhacharya, and set up the foundation of Pushtimarg. As you know, the famous 4 promises were made by Shree Thakorji to Shri Mahaprabhuji. So Shri Krishna manifested and revealed to Shri Vallabh that by taking the Brahm Saman, the 5 impurities and obstructions to seva of the Jeeves, souls are removed. So when you take the Brahm Saman, all your impurities, the 5 main ones, will be removed. And you'll be a Jeev which will be acceptable to Shree Thakorji. And this is the time when actually Mahaprabhuji, like we had the Yamnastak, from his heart did the Madhurastakam. So he did the Adharam Madhuram, which is a lovely recitation. So again, when we do the Siddhanta Rahasya lesson, we will be going into detail of each and every point which is being summarized here. Shri Krishna explained to Sri Vallabh that by taking the Brahm Saman initiation, the soul is connected to Brahm, and all the impurities of the souls are removed. So what are the 5 types of impurities which we have in the Kali Yuga? We have the natural impurities, we have impurities related to time, the place, the association we have, and the physical contact. This all brings impurities to us as Kali Yuga Jeeves. By dedicating everything to Sri Krishna through the Brahm Saman initiation and offering everything to Krishna first, all the 5 types of impurities are removed. So when we take the Brahm Saman, everything we have, we give to Sri Krishna. We become his trustees, and then every time we get anything, we still continue to offer it to him before we consume or use it. Always offer everything and do not offer any item that has been used previously. So you must only offer something which is new, pure, and brought specifically into offering. By first offering everything, everything becomes pure as it is now divine. So when you offer it to Shri Krishna, it is his. He has attached the divine ownership to it, and then you have the permission to use it. By taking the Brahm Saman, you selflessly offer yourself and your everything, your every undertaking, and everything is godly and divine to you. Number 6 is Navratnam, composed in Adel for Govind Dubey, Shri Mahaprabhuji's disciple number 34 of the 84 Vaishnavas Varta. He had anxieties that was hindering his seva. And obviously he was with Mahaprabhuji, so Mahaprabhuji recognized those. And obviously this is for all of us as well. So, he did it for Govind Dubey at the time. But when we suffer from anxieties, I think we are asked to do this part and it helps you. But again, to remove the anxieties, to perform your seva without anxieties, not to remove your anxieties to become free and start getting involved in your sansari bits. So the Navratna Granth was created to remove anxieties. Upon the Brahm Saman initiation, full dedication to Lord Krishna, no worries exist as anxieties will obstruct your devotional flow. So why do you have anxieties? You've given everything to Sri Krishna. It's his problem. So you shouldn't worry about it. It is his problem. Take the problem and offer it to him. Don't ask for a solution to that problem. Maybe he's given you that problem to make you better. You don't know, but that's the bhav you should have. The recital of Navratnam ensures the devotee's mind and heart are relaxed and focused on seva. Shri Krishna does whatever he pleases and will fulfill his devotees' desires. Recite the Brahm Saman in satsang seva with Tadasi Vaishnavas in front of your Thakorji. They will guide you. Tadasi Vaishnavas are so close to, to Thakorji. Maybe Thakorji talks to them or talks to you via this Vaishnava. Pushtimarg is a Duti Marg. You need a Duti, a friend, a guiding, helping hand. But that person has to be a Tadasi Vaishnava. So every performance of a dedicated soul is connected to Lord Shri Krishna. So do not worry. Dedication by devotees with and or without fully understanding should have no worries. So whether you understand or not, if you are dedicating yourself, it's fine. You just carry on that track. You belong to Shri Krishna. Leave all the worrying, both worldly and non-worldly, to him. Always remain as a witness, as a saksi bhav. Always be in a saksi bhav. Don't be judgmental. Don't judge people. Don't judge while you're doing your seva. Don't overthink anything. Leave all your worries. When you go into your seva, give yourselves 5 minutes to compose yourself, be in the Thakorji Ram, and then move into the room and start performing your seva. Leave everything else outside. So your purity of mind has to be there as well. Do a 5-minute meditation before you go into your seva. So, always remain as a saksi. Always perform Sri Thakorji's seva according to Sri Vallabh's direction. Yeah. So the direction is in the Sodash Granth, and there are many other seva pranalika which gives you the direction, right? A situation that makes you anxious, consider it to be Shri Krishna's Lila and stop the anxiety. Experience Sri Thakorji everywhere with wholehearted prem, with love. Recite Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama 24/7. So every minute you get, please recite Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Antakaran Prabodh. So this Granth is about Sri Vallabh introspect. He is thinking to himself. Sri Vallabh is self-analyzing and feeling comfortable about a command from Shri Krishna to join him. So let's look at this. Sri Vallabh was commanded 3 times. He postponed accepting the command as he was keen to complete the Bhakti discourses of Sri Subodhini. So Mahaprabhuji was writing the Subodhini, it was the commentary on Srimad Bhagavatam. And he was Thakurji made a request to him to come back because he was missing him. He wanted him back. And Shri Mahaprabhuji said, but I need to do this for all the Jeeves who are here. So he was asked 3 times and he postponed it 3 times. So he's now thinking that I want to do Krishna Lila at least. So he's continuing doing it and he's not listening to Thakurji calling him back. So he's analyzing this. He's saying Shri Krishna is perfect. There is no other perfect Dev. He is the best. I was not joyous and or elevated prior to my dedication to Shri Krishna. And now after my dedication, am I so sinful that I repent? Obviously not. Shri Krishna's promises to us will always be fulfilled. His command must be obeyed. Otherwise, you fail in your dedication promise. Shri Krishna will complete whatever else that needs to be completed. You must do your duty to follow this command. This is what Shri Mahaprabhu is thinking. So, he's also having this thought. He's saying, okay, why am I not listening to Prabhu when he's asking me to come back? Why am I carrying on thinking I need to do this? So he's actually thinking himself and he's contemplating what I should do. Should I really finish this? Or what should I do? That's why it's called Antakaran. It's inside, So he's saying, I disobeyed the first command at Ganga Sagar. The second command was at Madhuvan. And now the third command, to leave my body and join him, Shri Krishna, must be fulfilled. I will obey. I should not lament now. I am Shri Krishna's follower, and only that Shri Krishna is not worldly. I must be content. I am dedicated with my all with devotion and accomplished my goal, and so I must be content. Shri Krishna is the only one capable in any situation. He is Kartum, Akartum, and Anyatha Kartum. How are we all doing? Are we Kartum, Akartum, and Anyatha Kartum? So, logical, illogical, and neither logical or illogical. Any questions? Are we all still on this journey? Anybody online, any questions? You can put them in the chat if you have. Shri Vallabh explains that Vaishnavas listening to this Granth become free of any concern. So he himself is trying to become free of this concern. So he's saying that we can all become like this. Just say he will do what he wishes to do. He will do things which are logical, illogical, or otherwise. So don't worry. Let him just do what he wants to do. Be Sharanagat to him, surrender to him, and carry on. Vivek Dhairya Ashray is number 8. Shri Vallabh explains, Bhakti mood requires these 3 main components. Vivek, which is wisdom. Dhairya is perseverance. And Ashray is refuge. This Granth is a practical guide on how to live in the world, deal with obstructions, and maintain a richful bhakti life. Quite key to maintain a rich bhakti life. Shri Vallabh shows us the elevated bhakti bhav that thrives between Shri Krishna and his bhaktas. I have a question for all of you. Vivek Dhairya Ashray, do we know which Vaishnavas this was written for in the 84 Vaishnavas? Does anybody know? Okay, this is homework. We all need to find out because I couldn't find out. So we need to find out. We need to do some research. Please share your answers with us. Okay, let's look at one at a time. So Vivek, always protect your bhav, dhrat, and saranagati to Shri Krishna. He will do as he pleases. So you need to be dhrat, you need to be firm. You must have the bhav, the sentiment, the feeling, and be sharanagat, surrender. And he's going to do as he pleases, as we said. Do not pray and seek something from him, as this shows a doubt of Shri Krishna's perfect plan. He has got a plan for us. Why are we interfering with that plan? He wants to give you more than what you want. So why go and ask for something less and he gives you that? He's going to give you more than what you want. Whatever he's giving you is for your own best. And that's why you should. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. He's always with you. He's inside you. He's inside everyone. Be under Shri Krishna's will and wish. Discard your ego. Then Shri Krishna will reside in the heart. The bhav that manifests is not worldly and not connected to the body. So we need to do away with our worldly attachments and our bodily attachments. That is vivek. Yeah, that is wisdom. Always be aware what is dharma and what is not dharma. Do not be stubborn and do as you wish. Yeah, try and distinguish between what the twos are, what is right, what is wrong. Always take the right path. Always take a minute, think, am I going in the right direction? Do I want to go in this wrong direction? You want Sri Krishna's blessing to be stopped, his grace to go in the wrong direction. But sometimes if you stray away, ask for his forgiveness and come back. So don't be stubborn and carry on in that path. When you have the realization that you're doing something wrong, pull yourself back. Dhairya, patience. Always patiently endure the mundane, spiritual, and divine pain. So you're going to have all sorts of pains. So, it's not just you will have your sansar pain, you will have spiritual pain as well. You will find that you're suffering when you're doing your seva and you're doing bhav. You're thinking, my God, this is like, why is this? Why is that happening? Classic example is when some really devout Vaishnavas are suffering ill and they pass away with some real serious disease or whatever, the most of the feedback people get is, oh, ये तो बहुत सेवा करता था, ये तो बहुत धर्म करता था, तो ये केम अविरत नाम किया. So things like that you should stray away from, so don't have that pain and don't have that in your mind. It is all a journey. We all have our past karmas to deal with, and we need to move on. It's all our prarabdha. So we need to just bear them and move forward. So, and we'll have divine pain. The most beautiful divine pain you can have is in Vipra Yoga, missing your Shree Thakorji. Right. Just as buttermilk is not affected after it's been beaten and robbed of its butter. So you know how buttermilk is made, right? So the milk is, is made into, and then it's churned and it's beaten like nobody's business, and you get buttermilk. But the buttermilk is still saying, I'm not affected. I'm still buttermilk. I love being buttermilk, right? And we all love having buttermilk. So that's how we should have. We should be like buttermilk, saying, okay, do whatever you want to do. I'm going to be like buttermilk and take it all and continue on your journey. Okay, the other story of the area is Raja Bharat, Rishabhdevji's son. Rishabhdevji is one of the choice avatars of Bhagwan Shri Krishna. And Raja Bharat, being a king, decided that, okay, I'm getting to a place where I need to go to the forest and be a renunciate. So he goes to the forest and starts doing all the right things. And suddenly, a deer is passing by and a lion roars, and the deer is scared, and the deer starts running. The deer drops its little one into the river, and Raja Bharat sees all this and feels that he needs to save this little one. So he goes and saves the little one, brings it out of the river, and starts caring for it, beginning to get attached to this little deer. Starts feeding it, loving it, thinking about it all day long. He's come into the forest, left all this, and is getting attached to this. And he is Rishabhdevji's son, Shri Krishna's avatar son, and he's slipped up on this. So anyway, he carries on, but obviously he had the awareness. So when he died, he became a deer, because when he died, he was thinking about the deer. So he takes birth as a deer, but he was aware. The deer was fully aware. So the deer is wandering in the ashrams. I can't remember which rishi's ashram he was, but he was having the leftover prasads there and all that. So this carries on, and the deer then passes away and is reborn into a rich, I think, Brahmin family, if I'm not mistaken. But he gets born and he's got brothers and he's got a family. But again, he's aware what happened in his first life. So he then says, like, I'm going to detach myself. So he acts like a real idiot. He's completely no brains, nothing. And his family hates him, his brothers and everybody. So he wears some real, poor type clothes and just no awareness. So he was doing all this deliberately because he didn't want to get attached. So he is thrown out of the house and he's going around, and a king is, a king's procession is going, and he's got 4 carriers carrying him. One of the carriers falls over, and hence Bharatji was there. He was quite well built and strong. So one of the king's men says, "Oh, he looks like a strong man. Let's bring him along to carry one of the palkis, one of the handles." So they do that. And like Bharatji is seeing ants on there. So he's jumping around the ants and all that. So while he's jumping and carrying the palki, the king's head keeps on hitting on the head. And the king says, "Which idiot's doing this to me? Like, come on, guys, you can't walk straight. You keep on hitting my head on this." So all the guys point out to Bharatji and saying, "It's this idiot." But Thakurji's Lila is amazing. So the king comes out and he asks Bharatji, "What's wrong with you?" So Bharatji then enlightens him as to his story and says to this king, "Look, you need to go and get some sense knocked into your head." So he goes and gets some sense knocked into his head. And the king was amazing. He actually started becoming a real good bhakt. And, that's the story. But, Bharatji, who had the dhairya of 3 lifetimes till he achieved what he wanted. So we don't know about our next life or the life after. So let's get the dhairya in now and start doing what we need to do. We've been given the Bhagavatam. We've been given the Sodash Granth. So what are we doing? We got the wisdom in front of us. Come on, let's go and get the wisdom and move on. Okay, so renounce with mind, body, speech, all the sense activities that are not connected to Shri Krishna. So everything we do, connect to Shri Krishna. Shri Krishna is everything for us. Drop everything else, leave everything else to him. Let's just follow him. He will look after us. Renunciation is to be done on the understanding that the power to do it is not one's own, it is Sri Krishna's. So we can't go and say, okay, I'm going to become a renunciate. Chalo sadhu thai jaye, bada bhagwa kapda પહેરીને બેસી જાય ગિરિરાજી વંદરાવનમાં. 3 દિવસ એ નથી રહેવાતું ગિરિરાજી વંદરાવનમાં, ભગવાનનું મન થાય. It's like that. Yeah, we can't last because the other bits come and get you. Trust me, it's not easy. It took me 4 years and Alka's like perseverance on me to get used to it. Now I love it. I can spend a lot of time there. Still no more than maybe a month. So I've got a long way to go. But that's not my own will. It's Sri Krishna's will. So I'm hoping that Sri Krishna one day will get me to stay there. And that will be Alka's prayers answered. So that's renunciation. Renunciation in Pushtimarg is not renunciation of becoming a sadhu. It's becoming renunciate where you are, in your sansar, in your family. Live with them with detachment, not with attachment. Inner detachment, not outer detachment. Don't make it known. Continue loving them, Shree Thakorji and everybody. But from inside, just think about Shree Thakorji and be detached from within. That is Pushtimarg Vairagya. I think I've undone another Granth already. Ashray. Always have Shri Krishna's ashray in this human birth and in all other births. Always take Shri Krishna's refuge in pain, loss, in sin, and in not getting the desired things, in anger, in absence of bhakti, when powerless and powerful. So always remain humble. Think that it's him who's making you do all this. When you get angry, when you're out of control, when you do anything which you're not supposed to do, just carry on thinking it's his wish and be surrendered. Always take Shri Krishna's refuge in pride. So when you become boastful, then just take a minute out and say, okay, I become prideful. Yeah. When you're donating, don't become prideful that I've done this. Just take it as his wish. It's his that you are actually donating. It's not yours. and in the attainment of divine in mind and heart. So even when you actually attend Sri Krishna and you're performing your seva and all that, and you're progressing in your bhakti, do not become prideful, neither in mind or in heart. You always remain loyal to Sri Krishna. Worship and praying of another to have your work done is not allowed. So always have faith in Sri Krishna. Don't go to other devs or anybody else asking for things to be done. That is not allowed. You should have 100% faith in Sri Krishna. Krishna Ashray, number 9. So that lovely pose, isn't it? Shall we just sit there and meditate on that? Okay. Krishna Ashray was composed in Adel for Bhula Mishra. Varta number 46 of Chorasi Vaishnava Varta. I hope you're noting all these Vartas because I'm expecting you all to go and read this during the week as part of your homework. And the slides, you're going to get the recording, so I hope you'll get them. You're not? You will get the recording shared. But if not, please send us a message and we'll share all the Vartas. As long as you promise to read the Vartas and to recite them to all of us at the next satsang. At the next satsang.
That's the next step forward.
God willing.
Shri
God
Krishna,
willing.
Shri Krishna's.
Shri Krishna willing.
Okay. Shri Vallabh explains to his followers to take Shri Krishna's ashray in every situation. 500 years ago, India had many contradicting situations. In Kali Yuga, proper paths are destroyed and dharma practitioners have become corrupt. Shri Krishna is the only refuge. So this is what Krishna Ashray is all about. It's telling you that there is a lot of corruption out there. There is a lot of fake babas out there. Everywhere, even in Vandravan, you'll be surprised. But don't judge them. They'll be smoking beeris, they'll be having drugs, they'll be doing all sort of things. They're dressed in various ways, but that's their way of actually trying to repel you from them because they want to be on their own and all that. So we shouldn't be judgmental, but we also should be aware of the corruption. So, that's quite key that, when you see this. So when you do Krishna Ashray, it actually spells out for you that what you should do and what you shouldn't do. It's, so you should recite the Granth every day in your seva in front of Thakorji and, become Ashray to Sri Krishna. It is clear that Sri Krishna is the Supreme Brahma and Supreme Soul. We have to all take his refuge. 6 parts of Dharma: time, place, the area, the agent, the karta, the chanting, the mantra, and action, karma, are all to be agreeable to have Shri Krishna's refuge. So we have to do all this to be able to attain Shri Krishna's refuge. This again can only be attained through following the principles of the Sodash Granth. Shri Krishna's refuge is the supreme reward from the outlook of the paths of karma, knowledge, bhakti, and surrender. So all this is the supreme reward. It's the best of the best. Chatusloki, number 10. It's composed in Kasi to Rana Vyas, Varta number 32 and Bhagwan Das Sachora 53, Shri Vallabhacharya's disciples. So Varta 32 and 53 of the Chorasi Vaishnavas Varta. Shri Vallabh showers us with grace and fully explains the 4 activities of life for a Pushtimargiya Vaishnava. And these are Dharma. Our Dharma is Dasya, the way of servitude, Thakorji's Seva. Earth, wealth, is Sri Krishna himself. Our wealth is Sri Krishna. We are the richest, the best. Nobody can come near us. We got Sri Krishna. Calm, desire, with all your senses, only for Sri Thakorji's auspicious darshan and service. So we should divert all our senses towards Sri Thakorji. Moksha. To be liberated from all else and become Sri Thakorji's Sarvatma Bhav, have Shri Krishna's Bhav in everything we do. Shri Vallabh advises us to always and forever have this state of love of Sri Thakorji. Serve and remember Sri Thakorji's lotus feet. Never abandon this view. So that was the Krishna Ashray Sloka. Can you imagine? This is just the basics. When you take a deeper, sorry, Chatusloki, again, Raju is awake. He's well awake. He's always awake. And he's very challenging. So let's just keep him quiet. Thanks, Bhakti Vardhini. No, but he's very inspiring as well. He always asks the right probing questions. But then because he's an ex-solicitor, he also gets into an argumentative mode as well. So we got to have debates with him. So that's why we try and keep him quiet during the satsang, and then we invoke him to start the arguments and the debates after. Thank you, Raju, for your input. Bhakti Vardhini. Can you please mute? Prafula Ben, please mute your. Can you mute?
Yeah.
Okay. Composed in 1496 in Gujarat for Purushottam Joshi, Shri Vallabh's disciple number 30 of the Chorasi Vaishnava Varta. So I'll just give you a health warning here. Please check all the Vartas, yeah? There is a deliberate mistake in one of the Vartas to see if you guys are actually looking out or not. So I might have one of the Varta numbers wrong. So please check. And if I do, please let me know. Is this one way of getting you guys to go and check it properly? You have to trip the speaker. Okay. Shri Vallabh graces and equips the practicing Vaishnava with Pushti solutions and guidance in this Granth to be able to manage the variety of situation that a practicing Vaishnava may encounter in life. So you can see each Granth is helping us live in this world and help us with solutions. Each Granth has got that. So all you need to do is pick up the Sodash Granth and look for a solution and you'll get it. Shri Vallabh explains how to accomplish this as follows. Prem, which is love, asakti, which is attachment, and finally vyashan, addiction, only to our Shree Thakorji. So all this is allowed for our Thakorji, but not anything else, yeah? So vyashan to anything else is not allowed. Getting addicted to anything else is not allowed. Love is for Shree Thakorji only. Attachment, your asakti, should only be to Shree Thakorji, not to any things or any other person. Prem, divine love, is achieved when everything not related to Sri Thakorji is renounced in mind, and one is only and just interested in Sri Thakorji and his seva. That is true love. Asakti, the all and unlimited anand, which is bliss when with Sri Thakorji. Kumandas is the story in the Chorasi Vaishnava Varta. Kumandas was with Srinathji all the time. Srinathji had so much love for Kumandasji that whenever he used to visit him, he would know what Kumandasji has prepared, and Kumandasji would ask him, Baba, what would you like today? What can I prepare you? And Srinathji would ask him for exactly the things he's made and made his life very, very easy. There are loads more stories in the Kumandasji story. I highly recommend that you read it, and you will find what asakti is. Kumandas was really attached to Srinathji. He was offered so many gifts to be in front of the king, to go and perform, sing in front of the king. And he turned around and the king asked him, what do you want? And Kumandasji said, I want you to never ask me to come and entertain you again. I'm only doing this for my Srinathji. So these are the two I recall now. There are many such incidences, which I'm sure you will go home, read the Varta straight after this satsang and remember them all. Okay, Vyashan, divine addiction, right? Remember the word divine, addiction, divine attachment. Only see and want your Sri Thakorji and feel the pains of separation from him when not with your Sri Thakorji. This is Vipra Yoga. One is not interested in any sansar and anything related to the worldly matters. One eats, drinks, and breathes Shree Thakorji. Wow, that is Vyasan. That is addicted. So you can't live without him. You know, it's him, him, him. If you don't eat and you're thinking about it, your tummy is full. You are thirsty, you think about it, and you've drunk something, your thirst is gone. You're breathing Sri Thakurji, so you don't need to breathe anything else. Gajan Dhawan story is the best story ever. Gajan Dhawan was so attached to Sri Navnit Priyaji that once he was asked by Akaji to go and buy something from the market. And he was in a dilemma. He goes, oh God, I got to leave Navnit Priyaji here and go into the market and get something. But he had to do it. So he went out and he fainted out there. Didn't return for quite a while. And obviously Akaji was worried that he'd not come back. He was asked to go in. So they checked out what was happening. And he fainted because he wasn't anywhere near Sri Navnit Priyaji. So obviously they brought him back and they made a decision never, ever to, send him away from Sri Navnit Priyaji. So that was his it wasn't just attachment, it was Vyasan. He couldn't live without him. He couldn't survive without him. Again, it is in the Chorasi Vaishnava Varta, deliberately not mentioned which Varta, so that you can go and find and read other Vartas while looking for that. Okay. So we continue with Bhakti Vardhini. Shivallabh shows us the ways to develop and nourish the notion of bhakti through katha, hearing and reciting sacred names, stories, and teachings together with Sri Thakurji's seva. Embrace vairagya, renunciation, focus on kirtans, kathas, Bhagavad Vartas, Lila meditation of Sri Thakurji, and Pushtimarg ways of living life. Always fix your mind on Sri Thakurji, protect your own dharma at home, and perform all activities with mind fixed on Sri Thakurji. Renounce anything that is not conducive to Sri Thakurji and his seva. Sri Vallabh advises that renouncing the home only once a state of vyasan is reached. So don't run away from home thinking, oh, I want to run away because you can only run away from home when you got vyasan of Sri Thakurji. That's the only way you're going to survive. So don't have premature renunciation. Don't want to go and be a sadhu without having the equipment of being in vyasan state. Otherwise, you'll come back running home or you'll never be able to practice, right? So you must first practice Vipra Yoga at home before you start deciding to become a renunciate. Sri Vallabh offers other options to renouncing the home, to live in a place of pilgrimage in Vraj, associate with other exalted Vaishnavas, perform seva and do smaran. At the same time, internally, mentally, to be detached from sansar. Jal Bed. I'm going to run through this one quite fast. Sri Vallabh references the Vedic text and explains and compares the bhav of the 20 different types of gayaks, which are speakers and singers, to 20 distinct types of voters. So what he's doing is, when you have people who are doing kathas and all that, he's comparing the different kathakars to the leks and all that. So he's actually guiding you to who you should be listening and who you shouldn't be listening to and all that. Or he's just guiding you to what each one is. So the bhav of various orators of Bhagavad Katha are classified as good, better, and best. So the Gandharvas, which are the celestial singers, are the whales, who are very sweet, and some are not that sweet, right? The Puranic law, the reciters of Puranic laws are the canals, waters, and they create worldliness. So they give you all the worldly bits. Intoxicated and indulge in adharma. There are people who do that and they still come and tell you katha. They are like the stagnant water holes. Reciters for money. They are the sewer waters. People who come and ask you for money to do it. Shri Krishna's glories. The Pandits who recite Shri Krishna's glories are deep waters. The ones with keen minds and hearts and who remove doubts are pure waters, like nectar. The brilliant and full of love reciters are lakes overflowing with lotuses. Reciters who have little knowledge are like the little ponds. There's quite a bit of logic behind this. The ones with limited devotion and understanding and charity are like waterholes, but they do do charitable deeds. Performers of yoga and meditation are rainwaters. Undertake difficult austerities and with little knowledge are perspirations. It's like doing exercises and coming out in sweat. The singers who have divine insights and speak of Shri Krishna's greatness are the waterfalls. The ones who believe in material devs are dew. They are like dew drops. The Blessed One who performs practices including Navda Bhakti, ones who become full of love and clever with God's dharma, are flowing spring. The reciters are as per 14 above, and who remain the same, not progress or decline, are like still waters. So they don't give you any more, or they don't give you any less. They just remain where they are, like still waters. The ones who suffer their good and bad deeds for a lifetime, ones who are always in transit, are streams. Reciters similar to 16, who are unaffected by karmas, are like larger rivers. Eminent devotees, Vyas, Naradji, and all them, are like oceans. They sing praises of Shri Krishna. These are the oceans. The wise Bhakta, who praises Shri Krishna as pure, as Satchit and Anand, are the ocean of nectar. And lastly, Lord Vishnu's messengers are drops of nectar. Ajamil heard, Ajamil's story we recited this morning in the lesson. So that's, he was a Brahmin who was very, very pious. He got bad company. He got lost. He had sadhus bless him and asked for a boon. And they said, okay, you're not going to give anything, but do us a favor, call your son Narayan. They called him Narayan. When he was about to die, he said, Narayan, Narayan, come and give me some water or something like that. So Narayan came along, and there was a fight between the messengers of Vishnu and the messengers of Yam. Vishnu's messenger's argument was that we should give him another 12 years to live. Because when you do bad deeds, your life gets shortened. You die earlier than you're meant to die, but he was about to die, but he had still 12 years left. So in those 12 years, he really did all the good things again. And then he went to God's abode. The mere fact that he called out Narayan, even though he was calling out his son, it is God's name. The thing is, when we die, will we be able to remember to say Narayan? That is the key. So you got to practice to say Narayan now. And hopefully when you're dying, you will remember to say Narayan. Or maybe we should all call the thing we love Narayan. And then we call Narayan like Ajamil did. And we'll be saved. Okay. So the Granth teaches us to which type of speaker we should listen to, the bhav of the speaker, and which comes into the listener when they're actually telling you wisely what they're doing. So we should actually assess the speaker before we go and listen to them. Ignorance and mundane moods, allowing one to experience the anand of the inner self that Sri Vallabhacharya calls true test. So when you're listening to somebody, when they actually invoke the bhav in you, the feeling in you, that's the type of listeners you should go to. This is what Sri Vallabh is telling us. Right, how are we doing for time? Whoa, we got 15 minutes and we're still on number 13. We got 2 more to do. I'll try and rush through. So here are the 5 types of bhakti listeners. Uttamadhikari, the best Pushtimarg listeners. Madhyamadhikari, the mid-level Pushtimarg listeners. And Kanist Adhikari, the low ranking. These are all good. Please don't get them wrong, right? But they're just classified as to what the different types of listeners are. So, they're all good, but there are different types, and everybody, goes from one to another, depending on how much attention they're paying and what their mindset is at the time. So the best ones are the ones who are surrendered with mind and heart and totally dedicated and not affected by what's going around them or what is going on behind them. Okay, Sannyas Nirnay. Again, this was in Badrinath for Narayan Sannyas, Narhari Sannyasi was a sannyasi, Varta 72, and Anandas and Vishwambhra Das, Varta 41. So those are the 2 Vartas. Shri Vallabh explains sannyas, renunciation. Sannyas as prescribed by karma path is not allowed in this Kali Yuga. We shouldn't be, like we said, try and become sannyasis. We might be physically sannyasis, but our mind will not be in that sannyas. So we need to be careful how we do it. So we should do it as prescribed by Bhakti and Gnan Marg, which are the acceptable ways of Shri Mahaprabhuji. Sannyas in the Gnan Marg is of two types. Vividisa sannyas, which is through knowledge, and the other one is Vidvat, which means renunciation by knowledgeable. So you gain the knowledge and then you do it. Don't just do it to gain knowledge. Gain the knowledge and then do it is the better one. But you can still do it for becoming knowledgeable. Then once you have the knowledge, then you will become the next type. So we should do it by the bhakti, what Pushtimarg says, which is through sadhana, through meditation, by doing meditation or bhakti practices, ongoing listening. We can become like that, associating with other bhaktas. In Kali Yuga, this is difficult because we are attracted. And if you are attracted to sansar, that is not sannyas. Bhakti Marg sannyas is the reward, is the viprayog, the feeling of separation from Sri Krishna, not in his presence. So, when you feel his absence, when you're in front of him, it's different. But when you feel his absence, when he's not around, you're doing his meditation and missing him. That is what is the best and is commendable. That's what Sri Mahaprabhuji is saying. That is sannyas. Nirod Lakshanam, composed for Raja and Madhav Dubey, Varta number 35. This is one Varta of two brothers, I think. Shri Vallabh explains Nirod is connected to our relationship with Shri Krishna. Nirod awakens when a Vaishnava is only under the control of Shri Krishna. So this is a type of feeling you have. Simply forgets everything, but only Shri Krishna is in his heart. Is a blessed state when a Vaishnava is bound by the cords of love and feels his continual presence. Shri Krishna appears from the heart of his own Vaishnava soul when they are indisposed for Shri Krishna. He showers his compassionate grace, which is Anand. So when you get to this state, you know what Anand is, what bliss is. Upon hearing this, Vaishnavas singing Sri Krishna's praises, he showers them bliss. One-pointed devotion to only Sri Krishna and keep in his continual joy. Singing his praises, a Vaishnava attains Sat, Chit, and Anand. So we change our state from being earth, water, fire, the four elements, to becoming Sat, Chit, and Anand. So we become part of Shree Thakorji. That is Nirod. Souls who Shri Krishna releases from himself are absorbed in sansar, and the souls that Shri Krishna ties up to himself will enjoy the joy 24/7. To regulate and progress away from sansar, unite yourself with Shri Krishna. No sansar misery and attachment touches souls who is in constant Shri Krishna blissful chintan, meditation. That is joy. Shri Krishna is everywhere and is merciful. No barriers will prevent a graced Vaishnava. Shri Krishna makes everything flawless. Shri Krishna's Gungan is better than Gnan Marg, the knowledge Marg, and reeds of greed and jealousy. Connect to Shri Krishna in all matters. In case of you straying away from Shri Krishna, you must control and reconnect. It's like network. Keep on making sure you're connected to the network, Shri Krishna's network. Make sure you've got the line connected to him all the time. To be in a state of Nirod is ultimate. There is nothing better, no Tirath, mantra or Gnan. So you need to be in a state of Nirod. You don't need to go anywhere else. Seva Phalam. Okay, this was for Vishnudas Chipa, number 50. Chipa is a printer. Vishnudas, unable to understand the Granths because of their complexity, requested Shri Vallabh, who showered his grace on him and us by composing the Seva Phalam, thus explaining and clarifying. Shri Vallabh explains the three rewards to be expressed in Seva. Alaukik Samarthya, divine capability, the ability and power to experience divinity. Sayuja, divine union. Experience oneness with Sri Krishna. Become one. You and him are one. Alaukik Sharir, divine body. Have a body capable to perform seva of Sri Krishna. Shri Vallabh further explains the three paths, the impediments to seva. What are they? Udveg, anxiety. Do the Navratnam and it will be removed. But do it to remove your udveg for Shree Thakorji, not for any other udveg, please. Right? Bhog, worldly enjoyment, must be given up as it is a barrier and destructive. Divine enjoyment must be embraced as it is a divine reward. Pratibandh, obstructions, those that are ordinary obstruction ones can be overcome by clever self-management. So there are obstructions which we can overcome ourselves, but the natural ones we can't. And so Shri Vallabh advises us to bear with us, apre sahan kari levanu. The things which we cannot overcome, there are many examples, our health, things which are not in our control, we should be able to bear it, sahan kari levanu, and this obstruction should be superseded with seva. So, try and do more seva and they'll be done. So that concludes the lesson today. I was hoping we could do the Madhurastakam and chant it, but I think we're going to be short of time. So I hope you all grasped whatever little I could share with you in this very basics of the Sarottam Stotram. Shall we quickly do the Atmanabad together? Okay. Dradhina charana ke paroso, Dradhina charana kero, Shri Vallabha Naka Chandra Sabha Jagat Dradhina Sadhana kahe dividandero Bina mula Any questions, anybody? Any clarifications? Okay. Jai Shri Krishna, everyone. Thank you.
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Jai Shri Krishna.
Jai Shri Krishna. Thank you very much.